May 11, 2015, from the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. It was Game 4 from the 2015 NBA Playoff Round 2 matchup between the Atlanta Hawks and the Washington Wizards. And the Wizards entered this game up 2-1, and the Hawks were looking to try to even up this series before heading back to Atlanta for Game 5. And early on, it was back and forth. We actually saw Paul Pierce hit 3 3-pointers in the first 6 minutes of this game, but the Hawks had some good shooting of their own, and in the final moments, they would end up taking the lead, and after one, it was 29-26, Hawks up by 3. Then in the second period, we would see some more, good 3-point shooting. Bradley Beal hit a couple of 3-pointers in the first, 3+ minutes of the second quarter. But then, with the game being within 5 points at 47-42 off of a 2-point shot from Hilario, DeMarre Carroll with the layup, and then Jeff Teague hit a 3-pointer to make it a 10-point lead as the Hawks went up by double digits. Paul Pierce then hit a deuce, and then Kyle Korver drops a 3, and now it was 55-44 with just under 5 minutes left before halftime. Paul Pierce hit another 3-pointer with about 3.5 left to make it 58-47. But then Horford comes back with an 18-footer on the other side to push it to 60-47. And then in the final minute, with about a minute and a half left, first DeMarre Carroll hits a 3-pointer to make it 65-52, but then Otto Porter Jr. hits a 3-pointer, and it's a 10-point game at 65-55. That would be the final score of the first half. No team scored in the final minute. So it was a 10-point lead for the Hawks at halftime. Then in the third quarter, the Capitals, goddamn it. Fuck it, I'll just keep going. Then in the third quarter, the Wizards were able to close the gap and make it a 1-point game as Paul Pierce hit a layup to make it 65-64. But the Hawks would push their lead back up. First Teague with the layup, then Antic nails a 3 to make it 70-64. And then fast forward to 5.5 left, Paul Pierce hits a 3-pointer to make it a 6-point game at 76-70. Then Al Horford hits a jumper, and now it's an 8-point lead. And then with a little over 3 minutes left, Kent Bazemore hit a 3-pointer to make it a 9-point lead at 81-72. And by the end of the third quarter, it would be a double-digit lead with the score 85-75. So the Hawks still up by double digits entering the fourth quarter. And the Wizards would bring the game within 4 points with about a minute and a half left after first Sessions hitting a 2-point shot, and then Porter drew a foul. He hit the first one, but he missed the second one. He had a chance to make it a 3-point game, but it was a 4-point game. And then Jeff Teague drains the 3. That makes it 104-97. Bradley Beal comes back with a layup to make it a 5-point game. And then Hilario with a dunk with just over 30 seconds left made it a 3-point game. But they would not score after that, and Paul Millsap would end up going to the line, hitting a pair of clutch free throws, and this game would come to a close. The final score, 106-101, as the Hawks even up this series. So Atlanta evens up the series with a win on the road in Game 4 against the Wizards. So they split the first 2 in Atlanta, and then they split the next 2 in Washington. So it's tied up 2-2 in the series. They'll be heading back to Atlanta for Game 5. But in this game, the game's leading scorer was Bradley Beal for the Wizards, and overall, the leading scorer for the Hawks was Jeff Teague. And Jeff Teague had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block, just 2 assists shy of a double-double. Horford had a double-double with 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Paul Millsap had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. And off the bench, Dennis Schroder, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. So he almost had a double-double himself, just 2 assists shy as well of the double-double, just as Teague was. DeMarre Carroll, 5 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 steal. And Kyle Korver, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. And off the bench, Antic, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Mike Muscala had 6 points and 2 rebounds. And Kent Bazemore had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and a steal. And for the Wizards, 4 of their 5 starters scored in double digits, including the leading scorer in the game, Bradley Beal, who had 34 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Paul Pierce had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 blocks. He shot 5 for 7 from downtown as he was just draining those 3-pointers. But Ramon Sessions, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Nene Hilario, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block. And off the bench, Bynum, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. Otto Porter Jr. also had 4 points off the bench, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And Gooden, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks off the bench. And Marcin Gortat had 3 points and 8 rebounds as the starter. So in this game, the Hawks were up for the most part. Of course, the Wizards did make a late push, and they, it was close early on, but of course, once the Hawks got up by double digits, they never really relinquished the lead, although the Wizards would actually keep coming close. They would let them get close, but they never would let up really in that second half. And the Wizards were shooting pretty well from downtown, so they hit 12 of 26 for 46.2%. But the Hawks actually shot for a better percentage, 47.4, hitting 9 of 19. They also shot better from the floor, 47.1% versus 44.7%, and better from the free throw line, 78.9% versus 76.5%. And on the boards, the Wizards did win the battle of the boards 41-37. It was even on the offensive glass, but they narrowly edged them out on the defensive glass. But the Hawks were getting better ball movement. They had 30 assists to 24. They also were forcing the turnovers as they had 8 steals versus 5. The Wizards did have more blocks, 8-5 on their end. But the Hawks, they were very aggressive in this game. They actually interviewed Teague after the game, and they asked him what was the key to the victory. He said, we were in practice talking about being aggressive, and that's what we did here. We were very aggressive as they're getting into the lane and getting those, good shots. And as Teague was aggressive, he put up 26 points, which, that was high for him here in this series. He also had 8 assists, so he was very productive from the offensive standpoint. He actually isn't known to necessarily take a lot of shots, but he was aggressive here, and it led to a victory on the road. And so the Hawks even up the series, and the final score in Game 4, Atlanta 106, Washington 101.